welcome to today's masterclass, How Can We Enable Circular Tech, the Foxway Formula. I'm Thaisa Figueroa, architect and the institutional engagement manager here at Ziggurat. So for those of you who may not know us, Ziggurat is an online institute with over 20 years of experience in e-learning. We provide master's and postgraduate courses in architecture, engineering, and tech management. We have an amazing community of more than 20,000 students from 120 different nationalities, and we are very proud of that. So today's masterclass is related to one of our programs, which is the MBA in Digital Transformation. This is an one-year course that trains our students how to deploy an holistic digital transformation strategy across all sectors of a business. For that, we cover disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence, quantum technology, IoT, blockchain, and more, so that leaders can stay competitive in the digital age. You can scan the QR code here if you want to see more details of the academic structure and professors. And if you want more information, fill out the form and our team will get in touch. And now I'm pleased to present our speaker today, Lacey Husted, sales manager at Foxway. Foxway helps companies which switch to high-quality second-hand IT hardware while working towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So, without further ado, I turn the floor over you, Lace. And please leave your comments and questions in the chat, and we will address at the end of this masterclass. Thank you, Lace.
Thank you so much, Thaisa, for the introduction and for the invitation as well. It's a pleasure to be here with you virtually, with you all. I don't know, should we wait a couple of minutes to see if some more people log on, or should we just jump right into it?
If you want to start to share your screen, and we can wait like 2 minutes and then start.
All right. Well, we have quite a lot of information to cover today, so I think we should just jump right into it. Also know that this will be recorded, so it will be available at a later moment, so people can catch up. So thank you very much, like I said, to Ziggurat for the opportunity to do this masterclass. We're very happy that what we are doing is very coherent with the teachings at Ziggurat. I have already gotten the introduction from Thaisa, but let me explain a bit more who I am first. My name is Lasse. I'm originally from Denmark, but I'm located here in Barcelona. I love technology. I love sustainability. And I also love communication. I've studied corporate communication in Denmark. I love doing business. So I've got an MBA here from Barcelona. So to me, Foxway has really been the ideal platform for me because I've been able to combine all of these interests that I have. And now I've been going at it for almost a decade, my entire career. Here you have my email, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. I like sharing sustainability related topics, and we're always very active. So feel free to follow me and reach out. Okay, so today's agenda can be divided into two parts. The first one will be a bit more theoretic. We'll be going through what we can call the old paradigm, that's the world as we know it as of right now. And I think that terrifying and and depressing is probably the best way to describe the first part of this session. But if you just stick with me, if you stay with me, then we'll move into the second part, which I promise will be a lot more fun because it will be more practical. We're gonna go through some of the changes, very positive changes that we are seeing in the world, and then we will discuss what Foxway is doing, what is sustainable technology, what impact can we actually drive on the world. And like Taisa said, you can feel free to share all of your questions in the chat, and we can have an open discussion at the end of the session. So if we start by considering the overall state of the world, there is obviously a lot of studying and investigation going on to find out what's happening with our world from an environmental perspective. However, many of the leading scientists all agree that we have reached 1.5 degree temperature change, and it's pretty much irreversible. You know, we've gotten to a point where there's not really much we can do about it. So we basically more or less just have to accept that there has been done some damage. I'm sure that you're all aware as well that in every summer, we're seeing it right now, is like there are new heat records every single year. Things are changing quite a lot. So we are already growing accustomed to seeing this change. So that's the sad part, because it will have consequences in the long run, especially. But there's also some good news, and that is that even though it is irreversible, we can do something to prevent that it gets even worse. Scientists agree that we are the last generation that will have an actual opportunity to make a difference. So I don't want to put any pressure on you guys, but that's just the fact. They are describing the next 10 years as the determining decade. So everything will be determined in the course of the next 10 years. We will find out if we're actually able to do a sustainable difference or not. Otherwise, in the long run, which really aren't that many years from now, we will see some even more drastic changes. So of course, we also need to think about the future generations, because we've had access to a great and wonderful world, but we also want our children and our children's children to have the same possibility that we did. So that's pretty much the state of the world that we're in right now. Now we're gonna focus a bit more in the tech industry. You know, Cigarette Institute is all about technology. I know a lot of you are probably very much interested in technology, and us here at Foxway, we love technology as well. We love working with technology, and we can all agree that it's a very noble profession, because these technological improvements that we are seeing continually, they keep improving our world. It makes it more productive, more efficient. It basically improves our lives. However, there are also some dire consequences. There are a high price to be paid, so to speak. So there are several challenges that we are experiencing in the world in our tech industry. For starters, the levels of CO2 emissions are getting increasingly higher every year. We are also seeing huge amounts of electronic waste. Right as of right now, we're up to around 50 million tons every year. I read that that's the equivalent of throwing away in the garbage 1,000 laptops every single second. So these are some pretty crazy numbers. And what's even more scary is that none of these tendencies is improving. It's all getting worse. So if we're at 50 million tons as of right now, within the next couple of years, we will actually go to 70 and then to 90. It's a very negative trend that we're seeing. We are using a lot of very scarce minerals to produce all of these products, which we'll get into in a second. Of course, there are rising new technologies which are very exciting. It gives us new opportunities. The blockchain, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, obviously, which can really improve society, but it also increases the demand for energy consumption. We need lots of water as well to support the system. It takes around 37,000 liters of water just to produce one laptop, for instance. So these are some pretty crazy numbers when we stop and think about it. It's actually getting so extreme that the IT industry has reached the same level as global aviation, which was typically always the worst contamination we had in the world, which as of right now, it's about 4% of the global CO2 emissions, which are doesn't sound like much, but at a global scale, it's some pretty crazy numbers that we're looking at. And as I was saying earlier, what's even more disturbing is that it's not really getting any better. If we take a look at the global economy, less than 8%, just around 7% is circular economy. So we just keep depleting Earth basically, and we are not really good at reutilizing our products and resources in a way that we should be. One of the key factors when it comes to depleting the Earth is the material extraction and consumption that we need to produce our goods. If you take a look at this table right here, I'm sure that a lot of you, if you follow the news, you have heard a lot about what's going on with the semiconductors, the microchips, which are so vital to support this whole AI movement that we are seeing. Of course, batteries as well to support the electronic vehicle industry, which is also growing exponentially every year. So we have a huge demand for all of these minerals, and it's increasing. What's interesting as well is that if we actually take a look at Earth and see where all these minerals actually located, we'll see that the vast majority of them are actually located in areas that aren't so pacific or and peaceful, so to speak. You know, we have all of the geopolitical tensions between, and even straight out wars going on with Russia, and heavy tensions with China. But those are some of the most important providers of the minerals that we so desperately need to function. So even though it could sound like some sort of horror sci-fi movie, and it's actually a very disturbingly realistic scenario that China and Russia uh, team up and say, you know what, we're gonna cut back on the supplies, so you guys in the West, you can enjoy going back to the Middle Ages with your technology. And so it's pretty scary. And if you've been watching the news lately, just some comments made from Trump can also have a heavy impact. He said something about cutting off China, and the next day stocks are falling in the stock market. AMD, Nvidia, all of Taiwan Semiconductors, all of these companies that are depending on producing these microchips, and we know that Trump isn't too friendly with China, so we're gonna see how that plays out. In either case, this is also, in our opinion, a very strong argument to be more independent and be able to use our very scarce resource in a more responsible and meaningful manner. I mean, do we really need the new iPhone every single year? Do we really need the newest laptop when it comes out? Those are some questions that we us at Foxway think are very relevant to ask. So this is a frightening scenario, and everybody is aware that we're having very serious issues, but people and companies in general, they don't always know how they should face these issues. So there are different approaches and different ways to go up about it. Many people and companies, they have basically giving up. They they see it as a mission impossible. They're like, okay, we don't have the right information. Maybe we don't know how we can do to improve the situation. We don't know. Maybe we'll buy some carbon credits and everything will be all right. Then there are a different types of companies that use this dynamic a little bit to create some marketing. And this is what we can call greenwashing. There have been several cases these last couple of years, and people are like, okay, we're planting trees, everything is going to be all right. For every million euros we have of revenue, we'll plant one tree, so I think we're going to be fine. That's kind of the other attitude. I know that a lot of you guys watching, if you're a student at Cigarette, you are located in different parts of the world. I know there are a lot of international students, so maybe you have seen the memes on social medias that says the United States innovates, Asia imitates, and Europe regulates. It's kind of the way that people like to poke fun at us here at Europe, because boy, do we love to regulate. So when we see a threat, something like this, you'd better believe we're going to regulate it. So that's exactly what we're going to do. This means that the whole political landscape in Europe is changing drastically right now as we speak. There are several reporting tools, frameworks, different initiatives that have been available to us for a long time, but it has always been on a very voluntary basis to help us be more sustainable. Then what's happening now is that it's not so voluntary anymore. It's actually being regulatory and mandatory, especially with the new corporate sustainability reporting directive, which will affect all companies in Europe. basically. It's divided into different phases. So it has already started this year. It begins from the top, so that the largest enterprises will have to prepare and present their sustainability reports for next year. This means that it's not no longer that easy to greenwash or have these crazy claims. We've even seen H&M and companies of that size receive some pretty heavy fines lately, because they weren't able to back up the claims they were making sufficiently. So everything is changing quite drastically. These rules have to do also with double materiality. So you need to report uh, based on science exactly what are your numbers and what are you doing to be more sustainable. So this is what we can call the new world order, because the world really is changing. That's the first part of the equation, the new legislation that we can see. The second part, which is basically the other face of the same coin, so to say, are the ESG principles that I'm sure that a lot of you have already heard about them, because they've been around for a while, but it's only really during these last recent years that they really have been playing a significant part in the world. And as you can see, these principles cover three different areas. The first one is pretty straightforward, environmental. So it has to do with the impact that we have on the environment. The S is for social. It has more to do with how you treat your employees, if they all have equal rights. They also analyze what percentage of women and men you have in the company. And the last part is governance. It has to do with how you run your business. Basically, are you using the right principles? Do you have good governance on how you drive your business? Are you doing it in an ethical ways, and so on and so forth? And once again, there are different ways for the companies to tackle this new world order with the ESG principles. The first attitude is compliance, because there's really no way around it. You can say, okay, we have to comply. It's the law. We're not really a big fan of it, but I guess we'll do it. And then there's the second attitude, and that's really the one that us at Foxway are trying to cultivate, and that is watching this new world order as a opportunity, a pretty exciting opportunity, an opportunity to create a better company, to be more competitive. You can actually achieve several competitive advantages if you implement the principles in a constructive manner. For instance, if we're able to reuse, recycle our resources and products in a more effective manner, if we can optimize our supply chain, the way we produce things, if we can also things that we're going to have better costs in our company, if we treat our employees well, and if we govern our company with the right principle, we will be more competitive. So what all studies are showing is that companies that achieve a high ESG score, they actually produce better results, and they are more profitable as a company as well, which can seem counterintuitive to many people, because we have this tendency to think in binary terms. Either we have to be very sustainable, and sacrifice the profit. Otherwise, we have to be less sustainable and be more profitable. But it's actually the other way around. It's possible to combine the two and get even better results. Also, the ESG score that a company has a very high impact on the valuation of the company, which is a very important factor as well. We see it a lot in the investment world, that it's easier to get investors attracted to your business, or to get a financial loan from the bank if you have a better score. So now we've covered a bit what is the world situation, what does the old paradigm look like, and what is the new world order. Of course, it will be a long and hard process. We are making some very important advancements, but there is still a lot of ground to cover, that's for sure. So now we're gonna check out what is Foxway, who are we, and what are we actually doing. To begin with, we're a IT company from Sweden. So the headquarters are based in Sweden. We're still a pretty small company, around 1,600 employees, but we are experiencing a very healthy annual growth rate. This is thanks to many factors, as we saw before. Fortunately, things are changing. We are seeing that people are more open to opt for a more sustainable alternative when it comes to buying their products. And we think this trend will continue. It has to continue a far way into the future. I've been in the process of hiring new people here at Foxway on several occasions, and we always see an overwhelming interest, especially from young people, because they're really interested in doing a difference and working with sustainability. So I definitely think, from personal experience, that the younger and newer generations, they have a completely different mindsets. We see it at the universities as well. They're being brought up in a completely different manners. So there is a hope for the future, fortunately. The overarching mission that we have in Foxway, and what this is all about, is that we want to enable circular tech. And what does this mean exactly? It means that we want it to be easier for people and companies as well to choose a more sustainable solution when they buy IT equipment. I like showing this illustration right here. It's because it shows our business model, which we always try to keep as circular as possible. Everything, we always thinking in circular terms here in Foxway. So if we can see on the left-hand side, we have the sourcing. This is where it all begins. This is where the products come from. And these are, on one hand, brand new devices. We work with all of the leading IT manufacturers in the world. We specialize in surplus. So for instance, when Lenovo can't get rid of all of the old models from last year, we take care of them and make sure that they're being sold in the marketplace as well. And then we work with large enterprises all over Europe to take in all obsolete used equipment. So this ecosystem consists of new and used devices. Then what we do is that when it comes to the life extension, we make sure that all of these devices stay in the system for as long as possible. And we do that by giving them a longer life, and we bring them back to the marketplace. And you've probably seen back market. Maybe if you have bought something from there, it's very likely that if you have bought an iPhone, it's very likely that it comes from us. Or if you have participated in any sort of buyback program, handing in your old phone, maybe in MediaMarkt or directly at Samsung or Apple, wherever. And it's also very likely that we have your phone and we're giving it a second life, so that someone else can enjoy it. So just to summarize a little bit, we're all about giving the electronic devices a longer life. And as we were saying earlier, we see a clear, this is all growing. The refurbished market is growing ever so fast every year, which is very positive. What's really special about Foxway is also the volumes of product that we are moving. We are renewing over 2.5 million electronic devices each year, iPhones, other smartphones, servers, laptops, PCs, other products as well. And here you can see our primary production facilities, which are located in Estonia. So this is where we do most of the production of everything we're doing in Foxway. And this is another very important central that we have located in Denmark. This is really our distribution center. So we produce all the products in Estonia, or most of them, and then we complete the production in Denmark and make sure that we can distribute it out to all of the people who have interests in getting these products. One of the things that I wanted to mention as well, I'm sure that you have all heard about the Sustainable Development Goals by the UN. There are 17 in total. And the way Foxway is contributing is primarily at these 4 points that we see here. We create a more responsible consumption with our circular model. And we're actually also combating in inequalities in the world, because we make sure that people who maybe can't afford the newest technology, well, they don't have to buy it. They can get premium products at a much lower price point. So we are making sure that both individual consumers, but also companies and startup companies. There are many startup companies here in Barcelona, for instance, but they can benefit from all of these price advantages as well. And of course, we're saving several tons of CO2 emissions, which we'll see on the next slides. And we're doing a lot of advisory. We're working with universities as well, in Stockholm and Sweden, for instance. So we're advising other companies on how they can be more sustainable in their practices. And Lenovo, one of the most important IT manufacturers in the world, this year, this is actually just 1 month ago, they have recognized Foxway's way of working with all of these initiatives, and they have given us their Outstanding Climate Action Award, which is pretty cool, and it's a good recognition. The gentleman on the left side of the picture is Stefan Nilsson. He's one of our sustainability directors. People say that he's like an older version of me. So I'll let you judge for yourself if that's the case. So if we summarize everything that we have learned a little bit, our motto in Foxway is that sustainable technology, or circular tech, is the fast-track option to reduce our climate footprint. And why is that so exactly? Well, from our point of view, if you're a company or even if you're an individual, maybe you can't completely change your whole production facility or switch out your supply chains. Maybe you can't make all of these big changes immediately, but you can invest in second-hand products and reap all of the benefits. In a couple of slides, we will see the exact impact that these products actually have on the environment. And now you might think, Lasse, if this is so easy, then how come everyone isn't doing it? Well, there are some very specific and very valid reasons why this isn't so, because many consumers, both individuals but especially companies, they don't really feel comfortable with second-hand products, and there are a bunch of reasons why this is so. For starters, you don't always know exactly what you're receiving. You don't know if it's been tested probably. You don't know if it's gonna look great or if it's gonna be totally beaten up. I think these are some concerns that we all have as consumers when it comes to considering any secondhand products. I mean, you might think, what exactly am I getting myself into here? And if you're a company, or it doesn't matter really, if especially if you're a large enterprise, of course, but also if you're any type of company, if you want to buy, let's say, used laptops for your business, you really want to go for a more or less identical solution. You want people to have more or less the same model and the same characteristics available and the same quality. And it's in the world of the secondhand goods, it's not always so easy. Maybe you have to go out and buy 10 models of one thing and 5 models of a completely different brand. So that makes it also very difficult and a hassle to implement this type of solution in the business. A lot of people don't that sell secondhand products, they don't really know how to document the CO2 calculations in an accurate scientific manner, and that makes it harder for companies to actually comply with the law and document that they are actually doing something to be more sustainable. A lot of companies aren't used to working with this type of products. It can require more maintenance for them. There tend to be more problems. You don't always have the exact product data available, and sometimes it's a bit like a lottery. You buy a second-hand laptop or a second-hand phone, and you just close your eyes and cross your fingers that maybe you get something nice. So I'm sure that a lot of you maybe can recognize some of these concerns yourself, which, as I said, are very valid because I've had a lot of them myself. So, Foxway, we've been doing this for several years. We are becoming experts in the industry. So, we have actually listened to all of these concerns. We have both from all sorts of different consumers, and we have taken them very seriously because we wanted to be as easy as possible to buy a secondhand product and feel comfortable in doing so. Therefore, one of the initiatives that we have started very recently, it's not even a year ago, so this is a completely new concept, is that we have actually taken it one step further and we have created our very own sustainable technology brand, which is called TechCycle. And what we strive to do through TechCycle is that we want to bring premium quality to the consumers so that they can feel safe making this choice. There are 3 main value points when it comes to TechCycle. For starters, we have a completely standardized quality in all of the devices. We have large volumes, continuous supplies, so that even large enterprises can implement the products. We're talking about tens of thousands of units, which within very few years will become hundreds of thousands of units. And we give the exact same warranty as the manufacturer themselves. In some cases, you even get a better warranty condition when you buy a secondhand product from Foxway than buying the new one. And if you're located here in Spain, there's actually an extra benefit when it comes to warranty, because Foxway has teamed up with Econocom, which is a very large tech company that works directly with the IT manufacturers, Lenovo, HP, Apple, just to name the most important ones. And they are the official service provider for these companies. And now TechCycle is being added into that portfolio. So that means that here in Spain, from here on out, if you buy a TechCycle secondhand product, you actually get the exact same warranty that you would have received if you had bought a completely new Lenovo laptop, for instance. So this is pretty interesting because it will be the exact same technicians working on it, and it will be a lot faster because usually we have to get the product back to Denmark, which also lead to even more CO2 emissions with all of the logistics. So it will be much more efficient, much more fast with this warranty process. And if all goes well, we will escalate this model into different European markets as well. So this is a very important part of the value proposition. So how does this process exactly work out? As we saw in the circular business model, we absorb thousands upon thousands of different used equipment. We make sure the data has been erased. We test it out. If it's necessary, we repair it. We replace the parts, and we prepare the equipment with different types of treatments, which I will show you. We take it through one last quality control, and then we get it into the packaging. It has its own packaging right here, which is very slim, ecological, and nice. So we want it to be the same experience when you buy a secondhand product. You get the unboxing experience as well, which is a nice part of buying something new as well. And if we look at the more scientific part of what we are doing, you can see that to produce one average laptop, it actually takes 200 as an average. It takes 265 kilos of CO2, and with our treatment, it's only 11.1 kilos. So that means that you can actually save the environment up to 97% per device. And this is it's important. It doesn't matter if you're a private person or a company. This data is very important, but especially if you are a company, you can use this information in your sustainability reports and improve your scores dramatically. So in the TechCycle lineup, we apply two different treatments. We call it Premium Plus, the highest level possible, and then the Premium. And the main difference is the way that we treat the exterior part of the machine. I can show you an example here. Maybe it's not so easy to see in the camera, but this is an HP TechCycle laptop Premium Plus, which we have actually repainted all of the exterior. We have also made a treatment on the screen, eliminating any sort of scratch that might be there. So if I give you this product, it's very hard to tell that it's a second-hand product. And this is the premium, which is not repainted. We use what we call a skin. It's like a vinyl, a huge sticker basically, but very resistant, that we place on the device. So it looks and feel a bit different, but it's still, the end result is still very nice, that it basically looks brand new. And in both cases, we put very great value on the screen and on the keyboard, because the consumer prefers to have impeccable screen and keyboard. So we are investing a lot into the right technology to make sure that these aspects are on point. Here's a couple of examples of the top sellers in the TechCycle lineup, which are business models from HP and Lenovo. And in our experience, the vast majority of the users, be it private or companies, they actually probably don't need the latest processor or the highest technological stats possible, because most of us, we just want to stream some Netflix, want to send some emails, so we probably don't need to spend 2 or 3 thousand euros to get the latest MacBook or Lenovo ThinkPad to do so. We can actually, at a fraction of the price, we can buy a product that has been tested and that will cover all of our needs. Us here in Foxway, for instance, we all use the TechCycle Lenovo ThinkPad T490 that you can see here, 14-inch model, because we have in the everyday usage, we have very limited needs. We just need to send emails, open Excel files, etc. Then we have some employees in the marketing department or the IT department that are doing graphic designs or developing the systems. They tend to need something more recent and powerful, but it's a very small quantity of the users. So TechCycle is one of the specific initiatives that we have put out into the marketplace, so that people can benefit from them. So if we just summarize a little bit of the actual benefits that we get, is that you can get these great high quality secondhand products that actually look and feel as if they were brand new. You even get the same warranty, in some cases even better. And if you're a company, as we saw earlier, if you can bring down your costs and if you can save CO2 emissions, it will help you be more competitive as well. And of course, as we said earlier, as an individual as well, I'm sure a lot of you maybe already are buying products from back market, because you can get some pretty great deals as well. And of course, it's a great opportunity to do something for the environment. Now, we don't have too much time left, but this is basically all that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to go from the theory, the science and research that we're doing about the environment, and then I think it was important to show you something very practical, a practical way to be more sustainable, and what sustainable technology actually is. If you're interested in learning even more about these topics, a great way to do so is to go to foxway.com, and there's a tab called sustainability, and there it's available publicly. You can download our sustainability report. The new one has just been released, and also our handprint report, which is even more um, detailed scientifically in what processes we're using to develop the production. And of course, techcycle.com is also a good source. We don't have too much time left, so if there are any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you, Lasse. Let's see if anyone will do a question. Actually, I have one.
Yes.
Let me see. What feedback have you received from companies that have transitioned to using second-hand IT hardware? And how has this feedback shaped your services and offerings?
Well, that's a really great question. As I stated earlier, the whole concept of what we're doing, especially with TechCycle, is actually based on the feedback that we've been receiving from customers and users throughout the years, because they are so concerned about buying this type of solution. So we've really been listening to them and see, okay, they prioritize a perfect screen. They prioritize that it's easy to handle the warranty if there's a problem. They prioritize that they can get a standardized quality, that they can buy large volumes, and they can keep buying the brand and always know what to expect, because that's one of the main issues with the secondhand products in general, is that in any business, I would say, is that it's very hard to guarantee a certain level of quality. Sometimes you buy something and it's just impeccable condition, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna buy this product next time as well. And then you receive it and it's a complete disappointment for you. So that's one of the things that's very important. And to answer the second part of the question, we have had pretty decent success with TechCycle this far. We see that people, mainly companies, they buy a couple of units to check them out, to see, okay, do I really dare to buy such a secondhand product? Can I feel safe doing it? Will it be sufficient for my needs? And once they have tried them out, we are very happy to see that they keep repeating and they keep buying them. So the feedback has been very positive so far, but it's very important that you can actually touch and see the products for yourselves.
Thank you. And congratulations about your job. So we have a question here. So hello, thanks for the great webinar. Does the company have many branches in the world of or by other competitors, especially in Asia, in the Middle East, because it's a global problem? And we have another question too. So
All right, perfect. So Foxway, we mainly operate within Europe. We are present at 8 different countries. We're in all of Scandinavia, and then also all of the large European nations. Here in Spain, we're in Madrid, and here in Barcelona as well. So we are mainly operating in Europe. We do, however, have some customers in places like Dubai or South Africa. So we have a global range, but the vast majority of all our business is done here in Europe. But I agree 100% that it's a global issue. But hopefully we can start here in Europe, get good results, test out everything, and then maybe expand from there. That would be amazing.
Perfect. Thank you. And the other question is, do you expect companies go 100 sustainable or combo of used and new?
I definitely think it's going to be a combo. That's an excellent question, by the way. We already see what we like to call hybrid solutions are becoming increasingly popular in different countries of Europe. For instance, in France, there's actually a law that states that all public administered companies and institutions, they have to buy at least 30% of recycled equipment. So it's a requirement by law in France, and we foresee that we will see that same law in other countries as well. In the private sector, it's also very typical that you have maybe a 10-90 or a 20-80% ratio between new equipment and used equipment. It's what we're doing in Foxway, for instance, like I was saying earlier, that some employees like us, the salespeople, we can easily use a TechCycle laptop, but maybe the marketing manager to create cool graphics maybe need new equipment. So excellent question, but I think we will see a mix. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the last question. I think you already talked about that, but how much guarantee does the products have?
On the TechCycle products, we give up to 3 years of warranty. And here it's also important to discern between B2B business, between companies, because the rules are a bit different. You're not necessarily obliged to give a minimum period of warranty. If you're a private end user, you have other privileges, because companies usually are required to give at least 2 or 3 years, depending on the product. And when it's B2B, that's not necessarily the case. So there are companies that sell secondhand equipment with 30 days of warranty, for instance. That's very common. But we trust our products so much, and we know that it's so important to the consumers that we give up to 3 years of warranty. And within the 30 days, the first 30 days, if you have bad luck and you receive a product that doesn't work correctly, that doesn't comply with our quality standards, we will just send you another one immediately. No questions asked. You'll get a new device, a new used device, and within that period, we will come and pick up the product and fix it as soon as possible.
Perfect, Lasse. Thank you very much for being here, and congratulations again. I hope to meet you here in Barcelona sometime. And thank you everyone that was with us. I hope to see you in another opportunity. Bye bye. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you so much, Aisha, and thank you so much, everyone, for participating.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.